Strela-3M, Kosmos 2597-2599. The Strategic Rocket Forces of the Russian Federation, RVSN RF, successfully launched a Russian orbital carrier rocket Angara 1.2 with the Kosmos 2597-2599 mission from Site 35-1 at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome in Russia. This launch flew three Strela-3M No. 22, 23, and 24, Kosmos 2597, 2598 and 2599, or Block 14S-137 No. 8, 14F-132 No. 32, 33, and 34, communication satellites to a low Earth orbit, LEO. Gonets-M represent the civilian version. The flight took place on Tuesday, November 25, 2025 at 13 hours and 42 minutes Coordinated Universal Time, UTC, or at 16 hours and 42 minutes Moscow Time, MSK. Strela. Strela, Russian, Arrow, is a Russian, previously Soviet, military communications satellite constellation operating in low Earth orbit. These satellites operate as mailboxes, store and forward, they remember the received messages and then resend them after the scheduled time, or by a command from the Earth. Some sources state the satellites are capable of only 3 months of active operation, but through coordination with others they can serve for about 5 years. The satellites are used for transmission of encrypted messages and images. The current version of Strela, Strela-3M, is also known as Rodnik, 2005, present. Angara 1.2. Angara 1.2 is a Russian two-stage small-lift launch vehicle designed to launch a payload of up to 3.5 tons, 7,700 pounds, into low Earth orbit, LEO, and up to 2.4 tons, 5,300 pounds, into a Sun-synchronous orbit, SSO. The height of the Angara 1.2 is about 41.5 meters, 136 feet, the launch mass of the rocket is about 171.5 tons, 378,000 pounds. It is part of the Angara family of launch vehicles. Plesetsk Cosmodrome Site 35, Site 35-1. Site 35 at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome is a launch complex used by the Angara rocket. The complex has a single launch pad, Site 35-1, which was first used for the maiden flight of the Angara in July 2014. When Russia began development of the Angara rocket, launch pads at both Plesetsk and Baikonur were planned. Several existing sites at Plesetsk were considered, including Site 41-1, Site 16-2, and Site 32. Site 35-1 was determined to be the most suitable. Construction began in 2004 but was not completed until April 2014. The Angara made its maiden flight, in the one-off Angara 1.2 pp. Russian, Angara 1.2 Prvogo Puska, meaning Angara 1.2 first launch, configuration, from Site 35-1 on July 9, 2014, flying a successful suborbital test mission. The first orbital launch from the site was the inaugural launch of the Angara A5 on December 23, 2014, which carried a mass simulator. A second orbital test flight of the Angara A5 took place almost 6 years later, on December 14, 2020.
Russian Air and Space Forces, VKS. The Russian Air and Space Forces or Russian Aerospace Forces, VKS, comprise the aerial, space warfare, and missile defense branches of the armed forces of the Russian Federation. It was established on August 1, 2015 with the merging of the Russian Air Force, VVS, and the Russian Aerospace Defense Forces, VVKO, as recommended by the Ministry of Defense to improve efficiency and logistical support. The VKS is headquartered in Moscow. Strategic Missile Forces of the Russian Federation, RVSN RF. The Strategic Missile Forces of the Russian Federation or the Strategic Rocket Forces of the Russian Federation, RVSN RF, Romanized, Raketny Voiska Strategikisko Gonoznakini Yarosskoy Federatsii, literal translation Strategic Purpose Rocketry Troops of the Russian Federation, is a separate combat arm of the Russian Armed Forces that controls Russia's land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles. It was formerly part of the Soviet Armed Forces from 1959 to 1991.